Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the behind the scenes video of PT. And in the intro, you just saw the excruciating, painful process of getting this monstrosity to weld back onto the platform. At the end of the recording of the Neebs Gaming video, which you may have come from, thanks for checking out my channel, I disconnected it, but that got cut from the video, but it was just kind of floating around, so I had to weld it back to the ground, and that took 20 goddamn minutes. Anyways, welcome to the behind the scenes video of PT. Now this is a little bit different this time because I'm doing it live and actually showing you the creation in the daytime, no less, so you guys only saw it at night. This is what it looks like during the day because we put the night mod on it, but we build it while it's bright, and here's some stairs. The reason I'm doing it this way instead of the speed build is because I did record the process of building this thing, but unfortunately, it took so damn long that the recording process, even sped up 500%, still takes like 30 minutes. And I'd rather just show you around how it kind of works and how things happened. Some backstory though, I can put some footage up here of the speed build. This whole thing started out as, you know, we were gonna do Friday night. Duralius wanted to do Friday night for Halloween, and we were like, oh, what can we do? Let's do Halloween stuff. So we did a Friday night with Simon playing a horror game, and then we were gonna do a scrap mechanic where we build something, you know, spooky scary. The idea was haunted house. So I took the idea of like, okay, so Duralius said he's gonna do some kind of haunted house. I was like, maybe I could recreate a video game I like. And so I started out by creating this like checkerboarded floor that was going to be Five Nights at Freddy's. I was going to recreate the entire Five Nights at Freddy's game in scrap mechanic, but then after I started looking at like the layout of stuff and how long it might take to turn like a million times, I thought, okay, maybe we should change games. What else is there scary? And I went back to the old PT game that we played very early on in the Neebs Gaming channel. If you never checked out the PT gaming or PT video at Neebs Gaming, it's great. I think it's great. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie, and Simon's voice is all squeaky like, hey guys, because he was still doing that voice. But I thought back to PT, and it also meant that if I created one hallway, I could copy that same hallway several times, and it would be the same basic process, but allow it to be built quicker because it's really the same hallway. So if we come back to the real build here, this is basically the entire build was this chunk here, all the way to here, copied, or I'm sorry, from there to there, copied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And you run through it. So it made it a little speedier, and then I was able to get to the process of building. So I figured we'd just start here at the beginning. Let me hop in. So to get into this monstrosity is a disaster. You gotta like get up. Okay, I made it. Okay, so you get up here by using these seats, and I'm gonna walk you guys through how kind of everything works. So you enter the very first room. Now it's activated. Let me actually turn it off because it's still activated from when we recorded the video itself. Okay, so the idea is you start out in this black room. Now this was actually one of the last things I built, and PT here I wanted to make actually the title screen over here originally of PT because there's a program that allows you to take an image and import them into Scrap Mechanic, and that's kind of how this PT was done. I was gonna put it over there, but I ended up just going with PT, and I even chopped off the bottom so the wall could kind of come down. But the idea was this continues from Ada Hop's thing, and then we end up here. And if I look, I'm gonna look at the wire. You guys can see the wiring in this thing is insanity. Like, look at that over there, and then all these dots, and you can even see the text over there, canceled, close one, all in little dots. But here we have a timer, and we have a, what are these called? Controller. It's called a controller. So the controller, you hit the button, it activates the walls to go up to start simulating the hallway, and then the door comes down, allowing you to enter. Dun 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 dun. Now a lot of Scrap Mechanic is just kind of trickery to the eyes, at least when you're building stuff like this. So these walls actually here, I've gone too far. So those walls are actually just here below the room, and when you hit the button they just go and rise up into the floor, and then the door that is currently there just falls down into this little chute. So, like a lot of, like this game, it's often like I used to call animation. It's a lot of simple little tricks that come together to hopefully make something that's cool. And also, you guys might have noticed that the cart changed when we went over to my build, and that's because, if you look, this was Duralius's original build here, and while it was cool and worked really well, for mine, I had already started building the hallway and it was kind of bulky. So I decided to try and recreate the cart into this final cart design that ended up just using a bunch of, oh my god, that one's blue! It ended up just using a whole bunch of wheels on the bottom to kind of roll through. And so I will place down the cart. So I'll put the cart on it and we can kind of walk through on how this all works. So obviously this is just very basically a hallway, and you guys might have noticed in the final video that the lighting is a bit off, and that's because I have 8 bajillion lights throughout this thing, and it only can render a certain amount. So it was kind of random as you started lighting. So the first hallway looked cool, but then it just started to go away after a while. So this is the very first room. It's a very basic hallway because I didn't want to spook anything too far, or, you know, just get too weird. But this is the very first turn. Now, when we first started recording this or coming up with this idea, we were like, okay, we're gonna use this cart. How do we make it turn? Do we use this? Do we use that? I remember me and Neebs were like writing on the board on how it could be done. I opted for a turn track kind of ideal, where this whole piece is obviously separate and it just turns really quickly and goes in here. Now this part here is actually a remnant of an older part of the design where it was going to stop the wheel of the car, but I ended up not doing that and just have it spin fast enough that it just continues. Over here's Spooky Lady in the door, boogity boo, the bathroom. And if you actually go into the bathroom, I never ended up doing much with it, but there's actually a full sink, a bathroom, and over here is a bathtub, and it's like a towel hanging on the thing. So I never ended up doing anything with it, but you know, you can take a nice poop. So the way this works is it's hooked up to a sensor which runs to a bunch of boxes that are all hidden inside of here. When the back part of this cart hits the sensor, which I will do now, and come over here. So when that thing, oh god. We've gone too far in a few places. So if you watch the back of the thing when it hits the little lever there, so it hits that, activates it, and continues right on. Now, it's supposed to go down. Why didn't it go down? This part is not supposed to even be there anymore. Anyway, so this is the very basic hallway, obviously. There's like a spooky lady on the floor here. And now you'll see the back and forth motion of this thing kind of going and a person up there on the hallway. But the way that one works is it's just hooked to a whole bunch of bearings, hooked up to a thing, and it just automatically wiggles back and forth. And you can even go upstairs if you want. There's not much up here. It's just a big blank empty wall, but it's just got this little device up here that all just swings back and forth according to math. And so a lot of stuff around, I just had to like take the closest thing that they had for PT. In PT there was a bunch of liquor bottles all over the place, so I decided, hey, let's use coffee mugs. That's the second best thing. There was a coat rack and some legs were creepy, some balls. I just started like, ooh, balls. So I just started putting things around to kind of clutter it up like the real game is. Bottles over here, plants on the walls, pictures, which were just, I was trying to make like sky, cloud, green with very, very minimal 8-bit like blocks. And a lot of the windows are actually covered in chrome. So if you get rid of the wall stuff, you can see that the wall, it's just a chrome kind of thing you can build with. And so behind it is just that. And that's because I wanted it to look like it was something outside reflecting, and not just hovering in the air, because the illusion is you're going through the same hallway multiple times and not that you are just stuck. So let's get out of the first hallway. You go through, you hit another one of these sensors with the little back fin, and that's what opens the door here. Now this part was actually really tricky at first. The back part of this kept getting caught up, so I had to put these little wheels on the back to allow it to roll down smoothly. Now when you hit this, you'll notice a couple of pieces go down, and the door actually had to be flat there because it would get caught on the track, but now we're in the second hallway. Boogity boo. And as Neebs pointed out, there is a very clear seat that I just never deleted. So there you go. And actually, we're going to use that seat in a second because I want to show you guys how stuff works. So here there's just a bunch of ducks because I fucking love ducks. There's hidden ducks all over the place. Upside down lady with duck feet. Uh-oh. I've activated the thing. So you'll notice very quickly that these ones are a little lazy, and that's because I actually did them backwards. I created one in the beginning with blinky eyes and then this and that, and these ones I kind of threw together at the end because I was just kind of hurrying up. Oh, I deleted the thing. Okay, when we recorded, I deleted the thing. This was supposed to be a crusher that went up and down. Oh, I'm outside. So let me actually hook this back up because part of the system broke at one point. So it was supposed to go down, I think. So it's supposed to go up and down. It's a little janky, obviously, but that's because it broke during the recording. But the way this works is I had to create a system to just go up and down, up and down. And the way that works usually with these types of things is if you hop into a seat and go to the roof here, there is a seat here, and this is how the thing goes up and down. So now it's just a spinning thing hooked up to a motor that every time it passes over, it just makes the thing go down and then up, down and then up, down and then up. And then when your car hits the little trigger down there, the way it worked is it just made this part rise above that and then go through it. So that way it just kind of stopped. At least that's the way it was planned. In the video, it obviously didn't work.
What?
Oh, no, they're not pointing at us.
Don't.
We're gonna get crushed.
Crushed. No, don't
Oh,
crush
no.
us.
Oh God.
Oh no! Oh shit.
What?
It works every time, but now. Hang on.
Oh, here we go.
And it's stopped. Thank goodness.
Seamlessly.
Oh, yay.
Oh, that was a
Close one.
So not everything's foolproof, and this was actually one of my worst designs. This is like the last thing I added. And you can actually see a few of these devices around. I'll show you how they work. This thing, getting around this was a total clusterfuck. So to get back into the house, I had this little like seat underneath, and you have to jump into it and then hop out over the roof, and then it brings you back up here, and then you can hop down, and it's kind of a disaster. But that's how that works. Let's move on, because this one was just, ooh, Crusher, spooky scary. And actually, I had no idea that this thing was this long. 8 minutes of the video was dedicated to the PT thing, and I hope you guys didn't get bored of it. Or maybe you did, and that was the point, because in the PT video, everyone got bored and wanted to go home, and so did mine. So this was the red hallway, which obviously you can't see now because it's daytime. But I just changed the lights to red, nothing too fancy. And on the wall, there's these things, the sharks, which are actually for another game called Raft, as you can see there, that the Scrap Mechanic creators have been making, Axolot Games, and they'd put this in the game, and it was just a good little twitchy kind of thing that looked a little spooky. Now, a couple of people have pointed out this is the that song, Look What You Done, Starboy, that's it. This is the Starboy cross that he's holding in the video, but it was really just a light cross that looked kind of cool and like, ooh, spooky. And that was like the last part I added, because this hallway just needed something happening before you got to the real show, which was over here in this hallway. And this is where shit was starting to get a little crazy. There's people all over the place, and it just so happened that all their bodies are in T-poses, so I thought it would be perfect to have, you know, a crucifixion lady up there, and then up here I got rid of the railing and just had a bunch of bodies. And the idea originally was to have these over here lit, so your eye was kind of drawn to it to actually see, because I was afraid people would just go by and then not see all these people up here. So I had these lights up here to kind of guide your eye up to this direction to hopefully see it. Lucky enough, I was the camera for most people, and so I just did this so they could look at it, but that was the thinking, at least. So spooky, scary. Ooh, it's the church. Run!
That's a cross.
But it's
Evil.
red.
And it's
upside down
wacky.
sometimes.
It is kind of creepy,
Whoa,
though.
It
look at
is
all the
creepy.
people.
Wow. Oh. They should be singing like hymns now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you could have like
Wow.
choir music
Dude.
going on
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh, above us.
That really
amazing.
worked out. Oh my God.
Look at that death.
Now in this next part, if you listen carefully, you can actually hear like a breathing machine coming, like a and that's because there is a thing on the roof making noises. Now this was actually one of my favorite rooms. This one this was one of the first ones that I did, and it has these little blinky eyes. And at night, if you saw it, I think the effect is really cool. Like even when the guys saw it, they were like, "Wow, that's really cool."
Look at the eyes. That's great.
Shit.
Oh, that looks so good.
What looks good?
The eyes.
Oh, the little blinking eyes?
See, they liked it. So the way these work, they're very simple. And it just took a little while to get used to figuring out how to do it. There's just two pistons above. Let me show you. The lights are built back there. And then there's just two blocks going up and down every once in a while, which creates the illusion of a blink. A whole bunch of do not enter signs, a top hat duck to be classy as shit. So if you go upstairs, these are actually the sound makers, these little devices, and they make a whole bunch of noises. They can do... And that thing is hooked up to another one of these spinners over here. So to create the illusion of different blinking, because I didn't want them all to be uniform, there's only 3 of them, even though there's way more eyes, because this one is hooked up to like eyes over there, it's hooked up to eyes here, and it's hooked up to eyes there, this one's hooked up to eyes here and there. So it gives them the illusion of blinking at different times and makes them a little more alive, and you get in the same way like this. Now this room over here was supposed to be like the hellish demon, ooh, and honestly this was kind of supposed to be the end of the level, but I made a mistake and I did this room first, thinking like, okay, this is the last room. But as you'll find out in a second, it's not the last room. This was just supposed to be another demon with the eyes and like a big spooky, scary, oh, bunch of light. I mean, look at all those lights. It's just a big spinning board behind a door. Obviously nothing too fancy. This wall back here is set up the exact same way to have all the blinking, and a lot of the controllers are hidden inside these, which I never actually covered. Whoops. Cover the things now, they'll never know. And I was actually really pleased with how the blinky kind of things turned out. You can see here, these are actually the old system I was doing at first, where it was gonna like blink from the bottom and top lids. And then I was like, you know what, screw it, just give them top lids. I was pretty happy when these worked consistently too. It took a long time to get one simple, like, clean run through the entire course, but I was pretty confident it would work. And it for the most part did, except for the one mistake you saw earlier and another mistake that's coming up. Ooh, more eyes, and they look a lot creepier at night. I love what Duralius did in the video when you open this door and punch in on the eyes. We're safe from the demon.
No, we're not.
Oh, man.
Good cut there, Duralius. Good editing. And then this is the final room. Now, as I said, I made a mistake thinking the other room was the final room, so I ended up using this room. It was just normal, so I was like, okay, what can I do here? I tried to do the jump scare here. So the idea was to, like, you're so comfortable now. You've gone through 4 different iterations of this hallway. Oh, I'm used to it now. I know everything that's going on. It's very simple. You know, oh, we're gonna turn right, and then keep going. So now you can notice, oh shit, oh I fucked up, So the idea was you got about here, and the reason this duck and these lights are here is the same reason as those crosses before. I wanted everyone to look forward, because when they turn, I didn't want them looking off like into nothing when this jump scare happened. So I thought if they had their eyes here and it brought them around, they'd kind of stay focused on the center. Okay, so instead of spinning only 90 degrees, it spins you 180 degrees since you're so comfortable, and throws that right at you. It's supposed to catch you off guard with some blinking lights. And again, those blinking lights are just hooked up to the roof with a bunch of sound makers and a little spinny thing going way quicker to make those lights flash a lot faster. Also, we have a bunch of top hat ducks up here because, you know, what Anthony build is complete without some ducks? Boo! That was like a last minute addition. That's why it's pretty lazy. And honestly, the one Duralius did where the body comes down and wiggles looks amazing. And it's kind of what I wanted to go for at one point. I was actually going to have a body come through this door and go like, boo! At people, but I couldn't figure it out in time. Duralius had a really good body come through, and it would look really great.
I legit feel like I'm at like Disney World.
Oh!
There it is.
That's amazing.
Good job, sir.
Perfect.
Look at that.
And so there you go, guys. It's a pretty simple build when you boil all the little features down. It's just a bunch of little things that kind of come together to make a spooky, scary, haunted house. Judging by the comments in the Neebs video, everyone really liked the PT section, and I thank you. Everyone else did a really good job, too. I mean, everything was cool for what it was, but a lot of people seem to like the PT one, so thank you, guys. And canceled, because if you guys don't know, Silent Hill was canceled, PT was canceled, and they just thought, hey, it makes sense, it canceled. Fuck Konami, am I right? And yeah, and then this is my little secret exit to get out, because when I was building this, there was just no way to get in and out, so I had to build a little secret door. Pretty ridiculously huge. Originally, we were going to connect all of our builds, and then we had to kind of fake it, because mine got so stupid large that it was never going to leave this server. So here it is. I hope you guys enjoyed a look through of kind of how it worked. Thank you guys so much for watching here, watching on Neebs Gaming, and just watching in general. So if you guys like this video and want more, hit that like button to support the show, and subscribe to the channel if you're not. And PT, there's PT. Goodbye, PT. Goodbye. Hello, random poll. What's your story? Behind the scenes on the poll, coming next.